It is rare to test trading algorithms on their potential profitability and then discover a whole bunch of really promising ones back to back. In this video I will present you yet another well-performing trading strategy, which is called Bollinger with real pullback. The creator of this algorithm is called JillV220, and this time the author of the trading strategy has built a complete GitHub repository around it. You can find it on the following location. And that is really nice of the author to do, and also more trading strategy developers should take note of that. The README states that the strategy should not be used in live trading since it is still in dry run mode, although the repo hasn't been updated for 2 years. So it could be that this strategy has been abandoned or developed further elsewhere. There is also a warning to not use it on KuCoin or to use volume lists. And finally, there is also a thank you to the authors of the Nostalgia for Infinity trading strategy and the Real Pullback trading strategy. Furthermore, in the code itself, there is more information about the origins of this algo. Apparently, the inspiration came from this blog post, by another real pullback strategy on this GitHub repository, and finally also inspired by the trailing custom stop loss taken from the Big Z TSL algorithm from somebody called Perkmeister. So please, if you like this trading algorithm and you have great success with it, give a thank you to the author and the other sources of this end result to show your appreciation. This is not my work, I'm just the guy who tests this on its performance. Also, this is a great example that there's nothing holding you back from being inspired by other trading strategies, and then take the best parts to create synergy and maybe even a more profitable trading algorithm. Now about the code itself. If you can remember the Nostalgia for Infinity video, you know that the algorithm was pretty large and difficult to understand at first sight. It is the same thing here. It's not that large, but it's pretty complex, and therefore I will go over the code more on a high level and try to tell you the gist of this trading algorithm. And the code starts of course with the importing of the different modules that are used further down. Then there are some custom indicators defined that will probably be used later on, like the Elliott wave oscillator, the smooth range of change I think, and the Williams R, Shaker money flow, and some other ones. Then there is the actual trading strategy class itself, and that starts with a whole bunch of buy and sell parameters that can be optimized with HyperOpt. And you can also see immediately this is a pretty complex strategy. Here of course the mandatory strategy settings for the fractal rate bot like ROI, timeframe and stop loss. And you can see that the stop loss has been set to 0.99 to disable it, and that the strategy exit trades itself. Also, ROI has been set to 20% profits. And you can see here that the algo has some informative time frames, so I cannot test time frames that are higher than 1 hour. Again, here in this section, a whole bunch of optimization settings for buy and sell parameters. And here the default indicator settings are set, as well as the spaces where hyperoptimization should search for the optimal setting. Then the code has a section where the informative pairs and timeframe settings are determined. Followed here, a little bit further down below, by custom stop loss settings and a section where the NFIX code is used to determine the custom cells. Then over here there is a section where the normal or current time frame indicator settings are determined. And then finally we come to the actual buy and sell rules. And as you can see here, there are different rules under which to buy here, like if there's a dip, a local uptrend, a wave oscillator, something called a dead fish and more. And here the part where the sell trend is configured, and you can see that it is empty. This is because in the algo the custom sell settings were determined in the NFIX part, which I showed you above. I'm sorry that I maybe glanced over this algo code a little bit too quickly, but I did this for time's sake. If I had to reverse engineer what this algo all did, it would take me probably a couple of days to find out. That is why I have so much admiration for people like this author to put so much effort in this code. Now there is a thing I have to mention first, and that is that I had to shorten the date range of the 5-minute time frame backtest to actually get some results. Otherwise the backtest would error out on me, and that's why I have to set the 5-minute range to 3 years worth of backtest data for the pairs. But even with this shorter time range, this algorithm sure did not disappoint me. Its initial run over my backtest setup has an n-score of 293. And the numbers I got back from the backtest engine do not lie. This seems to be a pretty good algo. 290% profits with a 73% win rate and a high Kalmar, Sharpe and Sortino ratio. A great profit factor, and most coins are responding well to this strategy. For me, this is already an algorithm that I will put in the waiting room to dry run and to find out how it will perform under real market circumstances. And as with all the other 5-minute strategies I tested in the past, the plot I made is over a gigabyte large and I'm not able to open it in my browser. So unfortunately I cannot show you that. Now I can get a feeling of which internal sub-strategies this algo gets the most profit from, and it seems now that it is from the local uptrend, with the most entries and also cumulative profits here. NFI 38, of which I do not know what it exactly does, comes second best with less than half of the original local uptrend's performance. And as it stands now, I'm very curious to see how it would hypothetically perform if I would optimize its parameters. So let's do that now and see how far I get. Optimizing the parameters was actually simpler than I had imagined first. Both the buy and the sell parameters were not discovered in the actual strategy, so unfortunately I could not optimize these. The only parameters I always can optimize, however, are the ROI and stop loss. But I did not do this, and there is a small story behind this. Because before I tested this Bollinger with real pullback on the Binance Exchange version, I actually tested 2 other versions I got. Of these 2 other versions, the second one scored very well, and I decided to investigate that one further. The second version could also be optimized, but only on the sell parameter. So I decided to give it a try and optimized the sell, ROI and stop loss. And then I did another test with the optimized settings and I got the following unbelievable results back. You can see that this optimized version would crush all other strategies with these numbers. And I almost made a video about these results to inform you about it. But then I quickly realized that these numbers looked too good to be true. A Sharpe ratio of 12, Sortino of 18, Kalmar of almost 34% and a mere 7% drawdown, and 90% pairs that are happy with this algo. This started to look a little bit too unreal to me. So I was investigating all the output to the terminal and investigated the code and found some unexplainable errors or just settings that I could use in my setup. I have some more details written about this on my blog site. And to make a long story short and get back to my original story, the experiences I got with the other versions of this algo made me decide not to optimize this, but instead keep the original results here. And the additional benefit is that this also prevented me from over-optimizing this strategy, because I'm 100% sure that I did that in the other version. You have to know that there are over 50 parameters that can theoretically be optimized. And that would probably lead to a huge bias for the backtest dataset, giving absolutely no guarantees for future performances. So maybe it's better that I could not optimize this Binance adjusted version, otherwise I would fall into the same trap. Now there is nothing to be ashamed about with this strategy. Without any adjustments, it performs very well straight out of the box on my dataset. And the funny thing is that this is the second strategy in a row that enters my strategy league on the second spot, moving last week's strategy that also entered the league in second spot to the third one, with a difference of only 1 point. The only reason why it does not score that much higher is because of the profit percentage. But you also have to remember that this 5-minute backtest was done over a shorter date range, and it still performed that well. The only personal thing I have against this algorithm is that it is, just like the NFI-X strategy, pretty complex to learn. Also, there are a lot of moving parts in this strategy that can be adjusted, and therefore this algo is a little bit complicated to maintain and adjust to meet your own specific circumstances. Another negative aspect is the amount of adjustable parameters and the attention to make these all hyper-optimal. If I would make the effort to optimize all these parameters, then the risk of overfitting gets very high. Nonetheless, don't let me keep you from trying out this code, and I hope you get similar results as me. Just don't forget to do an extensive dry run here to find out if this algo performs good in reality as well. Now, if you like this strategy and you want to use this on your own system, then please pay the original author's GitHub page a visit and send him a message or a thank you or something like that to show your appreciation. As always, the output from these tests and hyperops will be available on my Patreon site as addendums for my supporters. And with these files you can analyze my output or compare my results with tests on your own setup. This way I keep things real and verifiable, and you also do not have to burn your CPU on optimizing the parameters. And if you like what I'm doing here and want to support me, then become a patron. I also have additional articles, analysis and stuff to improve your algo trading or bots as additional bonus content over there as well. For example, I will also add the test results and optimization files of the other 2 versions of this trading strategy on my Patreon page. For now, thank you for watching this video. Click like, subscribe and give a comment if you have one. By the way, this is really helping the YouTube algorithm recognize my efforts to give you this content as well. So please do. And I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye!